Welcome to Business Time, the main stage for your business.
Hello and welcome to a new episode on our podcast. And today, if you want to hear what's the best way to get your taxes right, to get your booking and accounting in the best way possible, this is the episode for you. I want to welcome Shinas for this podcast. Hey Shinas, how are you?
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Thank you, Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming to this podcast.
Most welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me for this.
Amazing. So I want first of all to present you. You are Muhammad Shinas Abdulsalam. You are the owner of Kloudac Accounting and Bookkeeping. And you've been doing accounting in this amazing place that allows businesses to grow and pay less taxes than other places in the world. So this is what we're going to discuss today here. Yeah. But before we get into taxes and booking and all the bookkeeping and all those things, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you even got to this world?
Yeah, sure. So actually, so I'm a chartered accountant by profession. And so basically, I came to UAE back in 2007. And since then, I was working in accounting and finance field. And then, as you know, 2018, they introduced VAT, first time in UAE. So I saw there's a big gap in the market, like, in terms of accounting services and taxation among SMEs, actually. Because the small and medium companies, they were not having a proper understanding of the UAE tax system and all, obviously, because it was not necessary before 2018. So then I saw, okay, there is a requirement in the market, there is a gap in the market. So that was the reason I found this company back in 2018.
Amazing. Yeah. And you can tell us what Kloudac do, what is services it's giving?
Yes, exactly. So what we do is we provide accounting services, taxation services, focusing on small and medium companies here in UAE, right? So in terms of accounting, bookkeeping, taxation, and also we understand the business requirements, and based on that, we implement an accounting system. Mostly it is cloud-based accounting system. That's what we do actually.
Amazing. Yeah. So you just mentioned VAT as one of the things that helped you open this company and get everything. So can you just tell us a little bit, what does it mean and who should pay it and for what sums?
Yeah, exactly. So the VAT is a value-added tax, It is normally, in UAE, we have three different categories mainly. So one is 5%, another one is 0%, another one is out of scope, right? So if a company, they trade within UAE, mostly they charge 5% VAT. And then if they export certain services or goods into outside country, it will be 0%. And if a company do completely outside the country business, for example, let's say they buy product from China and then they export to UK, for example. So it is out of scope. So these are the main three categories in terms of the VAT. So that is about the value-added tax.
Amazing. Yeah. And let's talk about a new addition to a tax company here, company tax. So how does it work and who should pay it?
Yes, exactly. The recent one, it was introduced 1st June 2023, the corporate tax, right? So this is basically a kind of an income tax. If a company, they make a certain threshold of profit, so they need to pay 9% of that as a corporate tax, right? It's a very common all over the world, and especially UAE is the lowest one. And so this one, there are different categories. Like if it is a free zone, there's a different treatment. If it is a mainland, different treatment. So it depends on because free zone companies, if they really conduct certain business activities, so they have categorized them as qualifying business activities. So if they conduct those qualifying business activities, they can get the benefit of 0% tax, even if they make more than the threshold, right? But mainland companies, mostly they need to pay the 9% tax. So this is a basic, differentiation between the free zone mainland and when it comes to the corporate tax.
Amazing. Yeah. So that's a good thing to know. And you also mentioned now a free zone and mainland companies.
Yeah.
And I know that many business owners thinking about which of those two companies they should open, whether a free zone or a mainland company. Yeah. So if you could just elaborate, what are the pros and cons for each of them and who should open what company?
Yes, exactly. So when an investor comes to UAE, the first thing, he needs to consider that, so what is his target market, So one is whether it's UAE or outside the country, right? So because if he is completely targeting outside the country, and also he need to think about what business activity he is going to do. So if he's going to do certain qualifying activities, for example, manufacturing, distribution of goods or logistics services, and then it is really ideal for him to open the company in a free zone, because then he can enjoy the 0% tax benefit, corporate tax. But if he is doing a completely UAE local business, then of course he has the option to go for the mainland, because mainland he has a lot of facilities, like in terms of hiring more labor, like the staff, he can hire more staff, and he'll have a lot of options when it comes to selecting an office space, because sometimes free zone you will have to stick to a certain location. If it is DMCC, you will have to have your office within DMCC. If it is Dubai Silicon Oasis, you need to have your office in that one. But if it is a mainland, you can have your office anywhere in UAE. So that freedom is there as long as you do business within UAE. I think better option for him to select the mainland. But if he's mainly targeting outside the country, for him it's better to have a free zone, because he'll have the tax benefit as well.
Amazing.
Right.
And for people that want to open a business, they
Yeah.
want to get their business open, is there any other thing they should know before it? Like, what is your tips or like things that was mentioning here
Yeah.
before you open a company in the UAE?
Yeah, that's what. So as you mentioned, like, the main thing is he need to clearly understand, like, okay, what I'm going to do and which market I'm targeting, right? So based on that, he can analyze, okay, which option will be beneficial, whether should I open a mainland company or should I open a free zone company. And then based on the business activity, there are other compliance requirement also. See, for example, if you take a real estate, so there is a requirement of, having certain policies and procedures in terms of, Go AML. We call it Go AML. It's like exactly as per the, in terms of money laundering issues, right? So, like, what are the compliance he need to make sure? And if it is like financial services industry, then there are, options like whether he need to open in DIFC or ADGM, Abu Dhabi Global Market, or Dubai International Financial Center. So there are so many things he needs to consider. So based on that, I think maybe he just need to make a list, and then he need to plan out. And the good part is, like, obviously reach out to people like us, so we can sit and discuss, and we can suggest them the best option. So the best option is to reach out to us, and then we can discuss on that.
Amazing. And I really want to connect to your question here, to your thing here, because business owners sometimes feel that, okay, I can get myself a cloud accounting software.
Yeah.
There are many of them out in the market. I can just issue invoices, write my expenses, and I don't need an accountant.
Yeah.
I don't need a bookkeeping company.
Yeah.
So what can you tell to business owners that say that? What do you think that maybe they are mistaken?
Yeah, exactly. Because see, of course, people may think, like, when they open a very small, they might think, oh, no, I can do it myself. But if they miss certain things, the penalties will be huge, right? So he will try to save a small amount, but by non-compliance, he'll be spending huge amount of money on that. So it will be a reputational issue. Like, it'll be a bad mark for the company that if he attempt to do something non-compliance. And also maybe he'll be wasting a lot of time or focusing on the day-to-day bookkeeping or accounting, which can be done by someone else, so he can focus on his business, right? And also, not only that, so since we are in Middle East, especially in Dubai for many years, so we really know the market. So it's always better for him to have a tie-up with a firm like us, for example, so we can guide him in many ways, not only accounting and bookkeeping, but also in various aspects actually. So just we charge a very reasonable monthly retainer. So that is really worth for them to have a tie-up with an accounting firm like us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So if you are talking around the Kloudac and the services you're giving, so there are many bookkeeping and accounting companies here in the UAE. Can you just elaborate on why do you think your service is different than them? What are you doing better than other companies?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. Actually, so one thing we do is, we try to give a real-time view of the financials. So for that, what we do, we mainly implement cloud-based software. For example, mainly we work with Xero, QuickBooks or Zoho. These are the main accounting software. So by implementing this one, we assign a dedicated accountant for that particular client. And not only accountant, there is an accountant, accounts manager, and a CFO. So these three people will be there. So will be assigned to a client, and then they will make sure that on live basis they update the transactions into the accounting system. So the business owner always, he can go into the accounting system and see, so what's happening with my business, how much is my revenue, what are my expenses, how much I'm making my net profit. So what I should do in terms of growing my business. So this kind of information is readily available for him. This is one of the main thing I can say that we are different from others.
Amazing. And can you also, because I know that you are doing it for many companies around the UAE, and you're having a lot of success. Can you share a case study of one of your clients that you helped, doing something very good for himself?
Yeah. So I think I still remember there was a case we onboarded a client. So he was having multiple businesses. So back in 2018, the VAT was introduced. So that time they had registered for VAT, but until then they were not submitting their VAT returns. Okay. So it was in 2021 actually. They were not submitting any VAT returns. And then, so we had a meeting. Then I told them, what are the consequences and all. And then we arranged everything from 2018 onwards. We collected all the information, we recorded everything, and we filed all the pending VAT returns. And then he was having a huge amount, like almost 2-3 million penalty only, So luckily in 2021, FTA, they announced a waiver of penalties up to 70%. So we could file that return and then apply for the waiver. And he almost saved more than $1 million by doing this one. Actually, it was one of the very good success we did actually for our clients.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's amazing, to save $1 million for a business. You can do a lot in $1 million.
Yes, exactly.
Here in Dubai.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about one more thing that may be a core penalties, which is paying wages to your company, to your employees. And there is a certain system to do it in the UAE, and people should know about it. So can you just elaborate on that?
Yes. So we call it in a short form WPS, right? So WPS is wages protection system. So each and every company, it's not each and every, so mainly this is applicable for mainland companies. And also recently they have added DMCC free zone also into this one. So they need to make sure they pay their salary through this system, right? It's very important because if they fail to do so, maybe their portals, their trade license, everything will get blocked. So they will not be able to issue any further visas until they fix this issue. The companies really might be paying the salary through bank transfer without the WPS system, and then maybe one fine day they may come to know, we missed that, So then they have to pay back all the pending salaries. Even though it's paid, they still need to pay to show that, to remove that block. So this is, it's very important especially for the mainland companies and for the DMCC companies.
Very good thing to know, and may cause a lot of problems, in cash flow for business, because if you are paying already wages that have been paid, it can cause big issues.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's very good to know it in front and avoid that.
Yeah.
And I know that there are many legislations around money laundering here in the UAE, and I know it's a very big thing. And many people, do finance, do a lot of other businesses that may need to comply with this legislation. So can you just explain to us a little bit about that?
Yes. So the money laundering, as we know, it comes because it is a responsibility of each and every business person to make sure that he is dealing with a legitimate person, right? Because it's a social responsibility of everyone, right? So that's why the government, they introduced very seriously the money laundering to prevent it, right? So the requirement is they have introduced for certain companies, it's mandatory, especially real estate companies or company who are into financial services, right? And so mainly these two, I think I can say, because it's very they are fall under the small and medium category. So we can talk about real estate, for example, right? So because it's very common business in UAE, there are so many real estate small companies. So they want to make sure that whenever they onboard a client, they want to understand the client. So we call it KYC. So they need to have a KYC form, and they need to collect certain information of those clients, like their passport copy, visa page, and their identity and all, and also the source of funds and proof of fund, like from where they are getting this money to buy this particular property. So this kind of onboarding, they need to do it whenever they onboard a new client. This is one of the requirement of the AML system of UAE. And also there is a portal called Go AML portal, and whenever they find anything suspicious of a client, they need to report them into the portal. If they fail to do so, the penalties are huge actually. Certain clients, I know, they have got even 600,000 dirhams penalty for non-compliance, So this is very important. And this is applicable, as I said, real estate companies, financial services companies, of course, like accounting firms, auditing firms, business incorporation companies. For all these sectors, this is mandatory. So very important. They need to make sure they do a proper onboarding, and then they should know their clients from where they are bringing their funds. Is it from legitimate source or it's not a legitimate source? If it is non-legitimate, then they need to report this one. So this is what the money laundering law.
Yeah. Amazing. So it's very, very, very important to know. And, we are talking in this interview a lot about penalties and about mistakes that business owners are doing. So I want to ask you, is there any other key mistakes that you see business owners doing in the UAE that they can avoid and avoid, paying penalties and paying extra taxes and all those things?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So far, the most important thing they need to consider is the taxation. So when it comes to taxation, very important is, keeping proper documentation is very important. Like, because if they record certain things as an expense in the point of corporate tax view, right? If they want to record certain things as an expense, there should be a supporting documents to prove that. So tomorrow, if the tax authority comes and asks, okay, on what basis did you record this one? So there should be something to record. That is one thing. Another one is, like, in UAE, it's very common, a person will have multiple companies. And then most of the time, they do transactions between these intercompanies. So after the corporate tax implementation, this is another main area to look at it. So we call it transfer pricing in a technical term. So whenever there is a transaction between, the related party companies, so these transactions should be at the arm's length. They cannot simply record certain thing, just to reduce the profit from other companies. So they just raise an invoice to reduce this profit, make like that. So they can't do it. Everything should be justifiable, because if you fail to do so, they will face huge penalties. This is in the future, because now only the corporate tax has started. So now people doesn't know much about it, and they try to play with that, to issue invoice here and there to reduce the profit. Yeah. But this is another very important area in the future. Everyone need to focus. So this is one thing. And another thing is, as we discussed, like, WPS, they want to comply that one. And then as we discussed, the money laundering issues. So these are the main thing, they need to focus on that.
Yeah, and I know the thing you're saying is so smart, because I know people from all over the world doing those things. They're moving money between companies to make sure that one is in a profit, one is in a loss, so they can earn taxes. So and I know that you don't deal with the UAE government. You don't do those things here. Because on other countries it maybe go through a little bit better, but in UAE you don't deal with the client,
with the government
by no means. So it's very good to avoid those things here, and it's very good that you mentioned it, because it can help many businesses do the right thing. Also, I wanted to ask you about financial visibility, because I feel that you just mentioned it briefly, that your company helps putting in daily the invoices, the expenses, everything inside, so you can have a clear picture of the business. How much do you feel that this thing can help a business owner make the right decisions about the business?
Yeah, exactly. Because see, this is very important to know the business status on daily basis, because when it comes to cash flow management, there'll be a lot of commitment to a business owner, right? So every quarter he need to pay the VAT, right? The tax filing. And every end of the month, before 10th, normally they need to pay the salaries. So he need to have a clear visibility. Okay, how much is my revenue and what is my receivables, and and what is my bank balance, and so he how much I need to follow up with my customers to meet my liabilities during the month. right? So this visibility is very important when it comes to a small and medium company business owner, right? So that's why live based or accounting is very important for the right decision making. This is what I can say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I agree with you so much because once I started, creating my own dashboard of seeing day by day,
Yeah.
when I had this habit of opening my bank account every day,
Yes.
it's been really tough for me because
Yeah.
I used to look at the bank, once a week, just opening
right.
it. But when I got to saw it day by day, I think it really improved also my incomes because I've seen that I need money, so I made more efforts to create more money this month in my business. No,
Yeah.
so I feel that it's a really important
That's
thing. And I know that you are working with a lot of entrepreneurs to open their business and to create their business. So what tips can you share for entrepreneurs that listen to this podcast today and want to learn more about doing better on bookkeeping and accounting, which for most entrepreneurs, it's not something that goes naturally for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So the suggestion, the tips, what I'm saying is the most important is record everything into your accounting system, like because most of the time the business owner, he might think, okay, it's my company, so okay, I'm not keeping a record. I'm just spending from my credit card, my wife's credit card. At the end, he doesn't have a visibility like, really how much is my expense, right? Because that is very important, because you need to know how much is my total expense to run this company, right? So it is, maybe it's very small thing, but still better to record everything. So of course, that's what we are coming into picture. So normally we implement a very easy method, like most of the time we implement a WhatsApp group. So the business owner, whenever he spend, he take a photo and just submit into the WhatsApp group. So the dedicated accountant, he will keep updating it, right? So then at any point of time, he okay, exactly in what categories my expenses are. So so that he give a very good visibility for him to understand, okay, how much is my expenses to run this business. So then only he can really set his targets. Okay, this much I need to make. Then only without any problem I can meet my expenses, and I can take something additional to my as a salary for him, right? So that's one thing I can suggest.
Definitely, it's a very good, very good suggestion, because it can really help being on top of things.
Exactly.
As a business owner.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Shinas, I heard that you have done something amazing quite recently, or your amazing work in the UAE. We can also implement other places around the world, because you just opened a college in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
So tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. So, we saw there is one big gap between, the professional students. Once they complete their professional studies like CA or ACCA or AAT, whatever, when it comes to the real job market, they are not ready practically to do the job, right? So then, so actually there is a gap. So then what we thought, okay, why don't we teach them the practical scenarios in accounting? So that's what we started our college, KCBT, Kloudac College of Business and Technology. So what we do, we take students like who has completed their commerce stream, or they have completed their professional education in accounting. So we take them and we train them in terms of the practical accounting, how the accounts work in a practical environment, using accounting software, using real scenarios and all. And then we give them real scenarios to practice. So it is a great opportunity for them to join with us and learn these things. And then we start giving opportunities also to work with us. After completing this program, they can join with us. It's kind of an internship for them. And then once they really successfully complete everything, we try to even place them into good companies as well. This is an amazing thing we have started now.
Shinas, it's been amazing talking to you. I've learned a lot,
Right. Thank you so
from
much.
you of what you were saying. We are coming to the end of this podcast. So is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners before we finish?
Yeah, so one thing is, of course, don't take this very simple, like in terms of compliance. It's really important to keep everything recorded, because earlier it was not a it was not a requirement by the authorities to maintain proper books of accounts. but now it is required. You have to use a system accounting software to record it. That's also mandatory. So they need to take it seriously, to maintain the books of accounts. So I highly recommend for them to get in touch with an accounting firm like us, or maybe with us. So we can take care of that part, and also we can support them in all the way, in not only just accounting and bookkeeping, but also budgeting and all the things, like how they can plan, how they can grow the company. So I'm kindly requesting to everyone that you take this area seriously and start implementing these things into their business.
Amazing. So definitely very good tips, very good things. And if someone wants to stay in touch with you, we'll add all the details and links in the bio of this podcast, so everyone will know and can get in touch with you.
Yep.
Shinas, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for coming to this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Business Time, the main stage for your business.